Hi, so this is part two. Like before, I apologize in advance for any background noise. I don't know what they're doing outside. There's like construction and stuff they're fixing, some building, so that's fun. Anyway, I just kind of wanted to continue to talk about my kind of plans going forward regarding transitioning and kind of how I identify and just kind of elaborating on that because I feel like I didn't really do that very well in my previous video. Regarding my transition, I guess, it's something I've talked to therapists about. One of my previous therapists actually had dysphoria. He was a trans man, so that was really nice, and I got to hear his perspective and how he figured things out. And I've talked to several therapists, and I've also been in a few small support groups online, and all that's been really helpful. I have kind of a rough idea of what I want. The doctor I talked to was very helpful, but yeah, probably one of the main things, like top of the list main things I want is definitely top surgery. And the type of top surgery I get really just depends on the surgeon. I'm currently kind of on the hunt for surgeons that are covered by my insurance, and that's been kind of a nightmare. I hate phone calls. They're awful. They should not exist. The type of top surgery I get kind of also depends on the surgeon. I assume I can qualify for peri or keyhole, which is kind of nice because there's very minimal scarring. It's basically invisible on most people from what I've seen. But I don't know if I can get the results that I'm looking for with that. So possibly getting double incision, I don't know. I'll have to get assessed by a surgeon and see what my options are and what I even qualify for, you know, how I can achieve the goals I want through surgery, like the best method. And I also want to see, obviously, their previous work and what they're good at. It feels like it feels like nowhere takes my insurance, so that's very annoying. So I'm just gonna kind of take what I can get as long as the results are decent enough and they have, prior experience with top surgery, because I've heard a lot of people getting top surgery done by people who just do standard double mastectomies for like cancer patients, and the results are different. It's different, it's not great. But yeah, it really just depends. I'm going to be starting HRT later this month. I'm looking forward to it. I'm only planning on doing it short term rather than long term like most people. I just think that'll work better for me, and I don't want to be on it forever. A lot of the side effects I want pretty much stay, at least for the most part, after you stop. So I think depending on how my body reacts, I might be on it for only like a few months, maybe a few weeks even. I've seen some people where it just kicks their ass and, they get really good effects right away, but it really just depends. But hopefully I can get the results I want pretty quickly. Some of what I want isn't completely guaranteed. It really depends on you and your genetics, so, trying not to get my hopes too high, But I'm still looking forward to it. I'll be starting on just a regular dose unless I don't react to it very well. Then I was told that I can have a lower dose. It really just depends on how I feel because everyone's different. And I'm definitely glad that I'm going to be starting it in the cooler months because tea can make you really sweaty, and it would be horrible to go through that in the summer, especially in the beginning. Some of the results I want are like more body hair. Um, my hair pattern's kind of weird, but I have a rough idea of probably how it's gonna look, just based on other people in my family. But it kind of depends. I don't know exactly. Everyone's a little bit different, like I keep on saying. I'm sorry I keep saying that. But regarding facial hair, um, I don't really have a huge preference. It really just depends on how it grows. I figure if I don't like it, I can just shave it. Um, I don't really want to end up with, a creeper stash. I don't know if I could say the actual word on YouTube, but if you know, you know. I don't want that aspect. So hopefully I don't have to deal with that, and it grows semi decently. But like I said, I can always remove it. Um, I don't have a strong preference. It kind of just depends on how it looks. I'm looking forward to my voice hopefully changing a decent amount. Hopefully I don't sound like Owl City. Um, but yeah, I have tried voice training. There's free stuff online you could get for it. Um, and how I'm talking now is kind of the deepest I can go without it sounding fake, if that makes sense. Um, my kind of natural voice is a little softer, and I feel like where I am now is about as far as I can go, um, and still sound like a person, like a normal person, I guess. And I've actually been mistaken for a guy on the phone. Um, that was pretty cool when that happened. But that's a story for the other times. Um, but yeah, if I could put any effort, like not put any effort into my voice sounding deeper just naturally, that'd be great. I would like that. And some people say that testosterone has made them slightly taller, and that just because it bulks you up a little bit. Um, and that would be pretty great. I've also been told that it would probably actually help with my joint pain and like my bone issues because it does tend to make you a little more husky and, bulks you up pretty much. And I was told by the doctor that that would probably help my joints stay in place better. So that would be an awesome bonus if that ends up helping. I also am looking forward to it kind of boosting my appetite. It feels like I'm just kind of force feeding myself half the time. So if I'm able to get hungrier, that would be awesome. And hopefully, because of the tea, there will be some fat distribution. It tends to make you gain weight in a more masculine way. So I feel like that would definitely help with like my hip and waist dysphoria because it'll probably, lessen the femininity. If you know what I mean. I don't know how to describe it, but you know. And I was also told that I can stop whenever I want. It shouldn't really be an issue. Obviously, like, it'll take me a little bit to adjust back to normal, but since a lot of the side effects I want are pretty permanent, even if I stop taking testosterone, I'll still have the effects and I won't have to worry about it. I won't have to worry about my voice getting high or anything. It'll just stay that way pretty much. The place I'm going to, obviously everywhere is different, so where you are, the options will be different. But where I'm going, there's only 2 types of testosterone available, but there are things like patches and implants you can also get. Those just aren't available where I am currently. I guess a few years ago, the place I'm going to did patches, but they don't anymore for some reason. They got rid of them a couple of years ago. The only 2 options I have are gel and injections. And talking to the doctor, we kind of went over like the pros and cons, and the best option for me would be injections. I chose injections for a few reasons, mainly because I have pets, and if you're like around animals or small children, you're not supposed to use gel, just because even if it's dry, it can sometimes transfer over if you're like handling animals or like holding a kid. And you don't want that. You don't want it transferring over to them because that can mess up their hormones. And I also have a partner, and my girlfriend is on estrogen already, so like I don't want to mess up her hormones. I don't want to risk like transferring too much testosterone over to her while we're like cuddling or whatever, you know. I don't want to mess up her hormones, you know. When it comes to injections, there's two options. There's intramuscular and subcutaneous. I think that's how you pronounce it. Intramuscular does work slightly faster, but it's way more painful from what I'm told, because it's a larger needle and it's literally going in your muscle. So gonna hurt more. Subcutaneous is a much smaller needle and goes into the fat, usually on your stomach, and overall that's just less painful. And I was told subcutaneous is what most people choose. It's just way easier and a little bit safer, just because you're not going so deep. I was told that a nurse or doctor or whatever would be giving me my first one. Some places don't do that. I've heard things where some places just give you the prescription and they're like, okay, good luck, and they don't teach you. But I was told that I would be walked through it, and I can either go in for weekly injections, or I can be taught how to do it on my own. Probably for the first couple, I'm gonna have someone there do it, but I would ideally like to, do it on my own, just because I feel like that'd be easier. I don't drive, so it would just be easier than, taking the bus back and forth and getting rides and all that jazz, because that's not fun. Giving myself shots does kind of make me anxious, but I've heard from a lot of other people it's really not that bad, and once you get used to it, you don't really think about it. It just becomes part of your routine. So I think I'll be okay. Worst case scenario, I become a big baby and just have a doctor do it every time. When it comes to like socially transitioning, things don't really change. Where I currently am, the majority of people are pretty good. No one really questions anything. Everyone just kind of exists. Most people use the name May, which is cool. I don't have a huge preference for pronouns. Most people at the college I go to will use they, them for me. Being called she, her isn't not my favorite, but I vibe with it. It doesn't really offend me unless people are overly feminizing the terms that they use for me, if that makes sense. And he, him, that's also pretty good. No complaints there. And you can't misgender me, so that's nice. And especially online, people tend to use he, him, they, them. But I won't get offended if I get she, her every so often. I vibe. I exist as whatever. And it has led to some funny conversations. For example, my girlfriend will say things like, oh, he's my girlfriend. just silly stuff like that, and it makes me smile. I love her. She's really great about everything. And I understand that for a lot of people what I'm saying might seem confusing. I'm not currently comfortable talking about certain aspects, certain things, but I'll try to answer any questions If you have questions, you can comment or contact me on social media. I don't really care either way. If you know me in real life, don't just randomly call me and be like, hey, can I ask you really personal questions? That's uncomfortable. I don't want to be in that situation. Just, I don't know, write it down, text me. Don't put me on the spot. The reason I'm even doing this through a video is because I don't like to be on the spot. I like being able to write down my thoughts before I speak, if that makes sense. And friendly reminder, you don't have to come out. I originally wasn't gonna come out, like, super publicly. I was just gonna exist and go for, like, HRT and stuff. But the thing is, I know since it will change my voice and stuff, if people don't really know about it, it's gonna be really awkward, and I don't want to have that conversation. So I figured I would just tell people beforehand that, hey, things like my voice are gonna change. You know, I'm still the same person. You don't have to treat me any differently. I'm just gonna look a little different, I guess. If you aren't in a safe space to come out, don't. Especially with the current state of everything, some areas are just not safe to be openly queer. So, you know, your safety is top priority, even if that means you have to stay in a closet for longer. Which, you know, kind of sucks. Living in a closet's no fun, but, you know, things will hopefully get better and people will stop making such a big deal about it. But yeah, I'm gonna end the video here. I need to go clean stuff. Bye.